Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we are going to answer an important question regarding the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and some of his connections. First, though, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com. You've got less than 2 weeks to bookmark and follow us here on other alternative platforms before we stop posting on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You can also go down here and subscribe to our newsletter to make sure you get everything, all of our latest content every weekend whenever I send that out. And yeah, so let's get into this. I've decided that after releasing the documentary Bringing Down Jeffrey Epstein, which you can see right here on our BitChute channel, after releasing this and watching the comments on YouTube mainly, and we're almost at 100,000 views, by the way, over on YouTube. Thanks to everybody for that. We're about, I think, 80-something thousand. So there have been a few comments and things that have popped up that I've noticed, and issues that I thought needed to be addressed, and that's what I want to do with this video. Is I think I'm going to do some videos just like this, specifically like maybe with 5G and other issues, where comments and topics that pop up that people claim, certain things that I need to be able to prove them or disprove them, I'll do a video like this on that. So today we're going to look into the idea that Donald Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from his Mar-A-Lago club golf resort over there in Palm Beach County, Florida. This is something that's often touted by Trump supporters, saying that, well, no, Trump has nothing to do with Epstein. Some people will bring up Trump's comment about Epstein liking young girls, and they say that he was very aware of this. But as some of you may know, since Epstein was first originally investigated in 2005 and then eventually found guilty of solicitation of prostitution with minor, and just pretty much his whole sick game became public knowledge, all of his famous friends, royalty, politicians, celebrities, etc., have distanced themselves from him, and publicly we've not seen them with him at all. It's not like the days before, whenever they were publicly joking about Jeffrey Epstein liking young girls and spending time with him. Now they all distance themselves. So one of the things the Trump supporters tend to say is, well, Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-A-Lago. This is reported, specifically they say this is reported in a book by James Patterson, author James Patterson, called Filthy Rich, which I have purchased just for this video, unfortunately, from Amazon. It's the only place I could find a digital copy. And essentially, this is where James Patterson, who's the author, some of you may know James Patterson, he writes fiction books, typically, I think, but he's now kind of gotten into writing. He wrote a book called Filthy Rich about Epstein, and apparently he is a neighbor of Epstein. He lives in Palm Beach and hates Epstein by his own admission. He hates Epstein and doesn't like Epstein being in his neighborhood, and so he decided to investigate Epstein and to expose Epstein by writing this book, Filthy Rich, which he co-wrote with 2 different journalists. And looking into those journalists and who they are, it would be worth our time as well. We're going to focus though on James Patterson, though, because it seems like his investigation into Epstein, it came from a place of a personal vendetta, I guess you could say. Like, he apparently just despised Epstein and the fact that he was his neighbor and lived in the same area, so he wanted to expose him. So he wrote this book, and in the book he says a couple of things. Let's see right here. So I just searched Trump in here, and you can see a couple of times he's talking about Trump having Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump had fought the town council for decades as they blocked all his efforts to turn the place into a private resort. Okay, so here we get to although Epstein had never properly joined the club, Trump's friendship with Ghislaine Maxwell gave Epstein unlimited use of the facilities. This arrangement ended when a member's young daughter complained to her wealthy father while relaxing at Mar-a-Lago. She'd been approached and invited out to Epstein's house. The girl said that she'd gone and that Epstein had tried to get her to undress. The girl's father had gone directly to Trump, who in no uncertain terms told Epstein that he was barred from Mar-a-Lago. Because no complaint was filed, the police had taken no action, but years later, a woman named Virginia Roberts would say that as a young girl, she had an identical encounter at Mar-a-Lago. And yes, we know the details. We talked about this in our documentary about Virginia Roberts. She actually was recruited into a life of sex slavery from Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. So obviously, he tries to use this and say, like, look, so some other woman also said this. This is an identical claim. And that claim led to Trump actually banning or barring Epstein from coming back. But he doesn't provide any evidence, honestly. There's no, it's just this. I think they say they spoke to some managers, and managers told them that what was done. And then recently, when I interviewed attorney Brad Edwards at Epstein's civil trial, I asked him about this, and you can see what he says right here. So, do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that. I definitely heard that. I don't know that it was Trump himself as opposed to a manager there.
But it's Trump's club, so
yeah,
people credit him.
I've heard the rumor that Epstein was kicked out of there for allegedly trying to pick up somebody's daughter or something like that. But I think I did chase that down as far as I could and never was able to confirm it. But I heard it.
I'm on the same boat with that. And just it's a rumor. It can't be confirmed. I heard that. So even attorney here, Brad Edwards, who's been investigating Epstein for 10 years now and had boxes and boxes of evidence, said that, yeah, he couldn't confirm that either. So pretty much the only account of that comes from James Patterson's book then here. And that's pretty much it. There's no other reference to it. The only other times he mentions Trump, really, right here, he says, Donald Trump's instincts regarding Jeffrey Epstein were solid. And basically says that, then everything came out and Trump was ahead of the game by calling Epstein out first and banning him from Mar-a-Lago. So Patterson writes this book, puts it out, and I don't know why this article's not loading, guys. Sorry, that's why you're seeing a white screen. He writes this book and puts it out and says he's trying to expose Epstein. And he does mention Bill Clinton being there 26 times on the Lolita Express, but he kind of downplays both of them, as you can see. He says that Trump really had no major connection to it, and he doesn't explore the Clintons' connection to it. He does say that when Trump plans to run for president, he'll use this against Clinton, which didn't happen because we know that both him and Clinton have a connection to Epstein. So they're one of them are not going to call the other out because they could expose the other. So I think that was an agreement that was made between the Clintons and Trumps a while back, is to not bring up either's connection to Epstein. See right here, it says, no one knew then that someday Trump would run for president. When he does, he'll attack Hillary Clinton for Bill Clinton's own entanglements with Epstein. But again, we didn't see that happening. Neither one of them brought it up. So do we have any reason to not believe James Patterson? I mean, he's a fiction author, but obviously he's got some connections, and he worked with these two investigative reporters, and they said they dug up all this information. I'm going to try to contact them and see if they have any more details to shine on that situation, because those of you who listen to me, I'm not anti-Trump, so this isn't like an agenda. I'm trying to prove Trump was connected. I'm trying to prove or disprove one way or the other, so then we can just let that go. Okay, if Trump had nothing to do with Epstein, then that's fine. This is just one piece of evidence that's been put forth. But I will say this, though, that, and I've said this in other videos, that Trump is listed has 19 different numbers listed in Epstein's little black book, what Brad Edwards, that we just heard speak a moment ago, called the holy grail of the whole trial. So it's not like he just had Trump's one number in there. He had his driver, his, all kinds of different contacts for Trump. So they did seem to have an extensive relationship. When that may have ended, I don't know. Now, here's another thing that I found interesting. After James Patterson put out a book on Epstein, he put out a book with Bill Clinton, and he's actually currently touring the country with Bill Clinton. They co-authored a thriller called The President is Missing with best-selling writer James Patterson, and so they've been going around doing TV shows and whatnot, and this article is basically saying that their tour is off to a rocky start. But I know for a fact they're still on tour right now, because an activist friend of mine was going to confront Bill Clinton when he was touring with James Patterson in Florida just a couple of weeks ago. So James Patterson says he hates Epstein. He's a neighbor of him, and he doesn't like Epstein and all the things that he represents, so he wants to expose them. And he also is aware that Bill Clinton is connected to Epstein, and if he knows anything about Bill Clinton, then I'm sure he knows what Clintons are about and what they represent and the crime family they are, and that they might be connected to pedophilia as well, and these trafficking type things. It's definitely the Clintons down in Haiti. Something is going on there. So either he's completely ignorant to all that, or he's just, there's something else going on here. I don't want to say he's full of shit, but, something else is going on, because how can he claim to want to expose Epstein, his neighbor, who is this crazy pedophile, whatever, and yet he's writing books and touring the country with Bill Clinton? something doesn't add up to me. So does that mean that necessarily that what he said about in the book that Trump banning Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, that's not true just because he's friends with Clinton? Of course not. But it does give you some context of who this guy is and who he hangs out with, and maybe it should get us asking some questions, right? So that's it, guys. That's what I could find. Now, I think the key then is to see the other two authors of the book here. Let me go see if I can just get back to the beginning of the book. And let's go all the way back here. Because James Patterson co-authored this book with, like I said, two different journalists. And maybe they can shine some light on what they found, because my guess is maybe he really didn't do much of this at all, because sometimes, you know, whenever you have a featured writers for authors who are not really that well connected in the genre they're you know, writing for, like for example, James Patterson is a fiction author. He's not an investigative journalist, so he hired John Connolly and Tim Malloy, that's who they are, to do the investigative work for him. So I'm going to contact them and see what they can say about this, and if they have any more information for us. But until that information is provided, we're just basically going off his claims in this book. And again, you have to look at who he is and who he's connected to, and whether or not you want to trust his judgment. It's up to you. I'll leave it up to you guys, but that's what I found so far. And you can use this as a reference next time somebody says, well, Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, and show them what the facts actually say. So that's all I got for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you are doing well and getting ready to enjoy your weekend. Just a reminder, every Friday evening at 6 p.m. Central, I do a live show, which is broadcast for the moment at YouTube and Facebook, and after that it'll be broadcast on other platforms. So tune in tonight if you're seeing this on Friday. And until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.